Alaska is one of those places that carries an almost mythical reputation. Nature in its most intact state, with very little impact by us humans, unlike much of the world. The place where something like Sasquatch existing wouldn't be a contradiction, but would rather seem to make sense. We are about to take you on a journey with us to Alaska, to one of the most remote places I've ever been. An incredible adventure of epic proportions. This is the story of codename Area A, or as we've referred to it more commonly, the Alaska Cabin. In May of 2021, I received a rather interesting email. It was from a man in Alaska with an extraordinary story. My name is Scott. We have not met before. I have a remote property in Alaska that is over an hour from the nearest town. It's on the ocean and is essentially inaccessible for most. We have things happen at this property that are unexplainable. David Ellis of the Olympic Project has analyzed a lot of the audio we have captured, some of them crazy and some of them very reminiscent of the Sierra sounds. We have had giant rocks thrown, rocks hitting the cabin all the time, and other things that are just too numerous to mention. If you ever find yourself in Alaska, you're more than welcome to come to the property. Anytime you want to talk about what I have experienced and at least 20 other people who have been to the property during the construction of the cabin, I'm happy to discuss. I have received plenty of messages from people telling me about their encounters from across North America or activity they have had happening in certain areas. This email seemed different. I was intrigued, but of course skeptical at first, as I usually am. I gave Scott a call. We talked for a long time, and he seemed extremely credible. He was a serious professional and former member of the military, with little to gain, it seemed, from being involved with the topic of Sasquatch. He seemed curious, while not a believer, but was looking for answers. Aren't we all? He sent me a number of sound files after we spoke. They were all recorded on his property and the surrounding area. That really caught my interest. These sounds were some of the most interesting, alleged sounds I've ever heard when it comes to this topic.
Well, the story actually started right here, pretty much. We were out here on our first trip, and we set that mooring out there, and then we spent some time looking for the rear. We knew where the front property markers were, and we wanted to spend time trying to figure out where the rear ones were. So we did that. It was late in the day. Next morning we got up and we grabbed chainsaws and gas and oil and everything we needed to work on the saws, and I'd staged them right where the beach ends, and because behind you was just thick alder. I mean, we knew where the cabin was going to sit. We had a general idea, and we wanted to start blazing the trail to get up there. So we'd probably been running the saws that morning for maybe an hour and a half. You know, we'd run the saw, set the saw down, clear brush, you know, you're trying to, you know, just keep moving. It was me and one other person. It was Lou. Anyway, we had been running the saws for about an hour and a half, and we came back here to the beach to service the chainsaws essentially, and I don't think it was within a minute or two that we started servicing the saws, and And on the other side of the bay, it would be somewhere, probably just to the left where those seagulls are, we heard a howl, and it was nothing I grew up hunting, fishing, and I hunt and fish in Alaska, and it was something I didn't recognize. And my friend Lou said, "What was that?" I said, "I have no idea." That was the first thing I thought. I have no idea. So we kept working, and then within, I don't know, 15 seconds, it travels 100 yards closer, and it howls again. And that's what was disturbing to me. And I think I told Lou at that point, I said, "They're coming." It just didn't make sense to me. I couldn't process why, as an outdoorsman, when I make man noises, the animals move away. They don't move towards me. So, but we're both armed, so we're not too concerned about it. 30 seconds after that, a minute, we heard a roar, and it sounded like a lion or like a T-Rex. It was just epic, and you can imagine this bay is like a little amphitheater. So we just sort of discounted that, you know what I mean, kept working, and we had just finished up the chainsaw, so we'd probably been working for about 15, 20 minutes on the saws, and Lou was standing behind me, and I happened to be standing right there, and I literally looked out at my mooring buoy. Lou had picked up his saw, just turned around to walk in, and I saw I'm just guessing, probably the last between 15 and 25 feet of flight of a rock it was the size of a football, but I could see its trajectory. It impacted the water, and Lou said, "What the hell was that?" That was the first thing because he was facing away. And I said, "Lou, it was a giant rock." That really kind of disturbed me a little bit, but so we kept working, and we're blazing this trail up here and clearing brush, and Lou walked up to me at one point and said, "Hey, did you hear the whistle?" And I said, "No." And he said, "I've heard it a couple times so far." And at the end of the day, we went up on that point over there just to relax before we got in the skiff and went back out to the big boat. We heard what sounded like that hollow baseball bat up on the hill, and we only heard one. And I just picked up a log and hit a tree, and it just sounded like a thump. After we had that first experience, when we're steaming back into port, I had reached out to somebody that had taken a group of guys out here. I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, I knew that he dropped these guys off to look at the property, to buy it." And I said, "When you picked them up, were they scared?" He goes, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, they were." And I said, "Why?" He said, "They had something walking around their camps every night, and when one of them finally got fed up, he wanted, they thought it was a bear. He unzipped his tent, and he said it sounded like a bulldozer going off through the alders. Now, a bear can do that, you know what I mean? So, and he said, "Why do you ask?" And I told him about what we had experienced. And the first thing he says, "Oh, you mean like Sasquatch?" That was the first trip out, and that's how it started. It's so far off my radar until now. I mean, and now I'm intrigued by it. I'm not a believer. I'm an agnostic. I'm not, until I see one of these things. That's just, I'm not just gonna accept it. I can't. Well, the first 2 years, it was every trip that we come out, and it was, I mean, we've had 20 different people come out here, and everybody's had experiences.
So I come out here, it was June, early June, and I had pretty high expectations. I was pretty excited, but I was trying to stay calm and focused. I'm not, everything's not Bigfoot to me. I'm skeptical. I'm kind of skeptical. I'm thinking, well, I'll go out there and see. So the first night I came out here, there were 4 of us. I decided to stay up late. The other 3 guys went to bed early. And I stayed out here on the deck for an hour, and it was just quiet. It was just quiet. 10:30, 11:30, I started getting a little braver, being that I'm not hearing anything. And so I walked down the stairs, kind of got on the beach, still nothing. 11:45, 12 o'clock. I worked my way down to the beach right behind me there. And I stood there. I had a thermal camera in this hand. I had my Canon SLR around my neck. About 12:30 rolls around, and I'm standing down on the beach about where the dock is. And I was facing the woods up there. And I was just starting to think, I'm tired. I should probably go to bed. And it wasn't maybe 2 seconds after that, I heard the biggest dude smacked a tree with it had to be this big around. The swinging part. and solid strike. And that first whack, it got my attention. And I was facing it too. I didn't have to move sideways, you know? It was right in front of me. And that's what startled me. It was maybe 30 feet in the woods. And here I am with the thermal, and then it whack again. And it stunned me. It just stunned me. I was not expecting that at all. And I know what I'm hearing. It's not like a tree fell. It was at someone, like the biggest dude I know, smacking a tree. And then again. And the second time it did it, the fear came over me. It's hard to explain. It was, you know, and again, I'm holding a thermal. And you think, okay, I've been into this big, I've been drawn, I've been wanting to see one, this and that. You think I'd be ready, right? And I did not even raise the thermal camera. I didn't raise my camera. The second knot, after it slammed, the primal fear kicked in. And all I could do, I looked over at the cabin, which was probably 100 feet away. Dark, ominous, you know, the trail next to it. Just look, I just booked it because I just felt almost like in danger, almost, you know, my human instinct. And I came around here running. I ran up the stairs, and I didn't know Scott had come out on the deck, and he was relieving himself off the deck. And I came up, and that's when I saw him. I'm like, did you hear that? Oh my God, did you hear that? Holy crap. And he's like, dude, that's nothing. So we sat there on the railing. I still had the thermal in my hand. We were so jacked up, so excited, we didn't even think about it. We didn't even think about raising the thermal. And my mind was still processing what I heard. I just couldn't believe it.
Well, it was a bunch of us, I think 5 or 6 guys that time. And they went out on there was 3 of us left, and I think 3 of them left on the boat to find some satellite, you know, connection, whatnot, what they were doing. And there was fire going on in front of the cabin. And I was kind of facing the cabin, so fire was on front of me. And the 2 guys, I wouldn't recall their names at this point. I know one of them, I think Josh, staying basically with the ears to the cabin. And all of a sudden, you know, both of them turned at the same time. And they like look at each other funny ways, and they're like, did you hear that? I'm like, I didn't hear absolutely nothing, you know. So they start saying that they heard some rock came to the cabin, and I couldn't hear it over the fire. And that evening, same evening, everybody went to bed already. It was pretty late, you know. We didn't hear anything, and it was me and that guy that was one of the guys from the morning. But at that point, we were sitting opposite. So I'm sitting now to the cabin, and Scott has a trail going into the woods. And now I'm sitting, you know, and also Scott has motion lights. So if anybody moves in the cabin, you'll be able to tell somebody's moving. Soon it moves, light goes on. So none of this was happening. When I heard the rock landed next to me, small rock. I don't even know where it would be up there, you know. It's only like moss there, and that's about it. And I asked Josh, I think that's the guy's name. I'm like, did you hear it? And he's like, heard what? I'm like, dude, there's a rock right here, you know. It just came from above. And he didn't heard it that time. About within 5 minutes, both of us like heard the rock landing next to us. And that's pretty much strangest thing I heard.
The thing is, the first summer was the most active. My first 3 visits, you know, I heard the tree knocks the first time, and then we left. I came back, and there were 7 of us this time. And that was a big one. That was really active. That's when we heard my first whoop. And that was loud too. And a gentleman and I were walking down the trail having a conversation as loud as we are. And we hear this whoop. We couldn't tell where it came from. And we stopped talking. And we both looked at each other and said, did you hear that? And then Scott was on the deck working. And Scotty goes, hey, did you guys hear that? And I said, yeah, was it you? He goes, nope. And then it was, I think, the day afterwards. And there was a big bare footprint.
This is interesting. This is right next to the toilet.
That could be one of us, I guess, but is it me or does that look like it? Now there's my foot track here. Oh man, I hope this works. We obviously didn't bring enough plaster, but we did get the whole foot. It's odd, it's right by the bathroom. Nobody else saw it. And I was up here going to the bathroom and looked down and I couldn't believe it. And then going that way, there's other footprints that are about the same size in the moss. They just you can't see the detail like you can on this one. It's bigger than all of ours. And it has toes. Okay, so when we pulled the cast, we did not see this detail that we noticed after we kind of cleaned it a little bit. But what the first thing that stuck out to us was in the toes. What we saw was this texture. And we immediately, there were 7 of us guys out there, and you can see it really well there. It's right there. Let's see, there, you can kind of see that, those lines going. We all thought the same thing. My God, what is that? That looks like dermal ridges in the toes. And you can see them even slightly in the little toes. You can see the 1, 2, 3 little toes right here. And you can see the dermal ridges right in the bottom of them, but really prominently in the big toe and the other little big toe. Really see that. And we looked at everybody's boot. Nobody had any texture like that. So that we were really excited about. But then we saw this. We noticed, if you can see these, which would be like the palm of his foot, this part of the foot, you can see that texture that looks like kind of like washboards, smooth, running kind of this way and that way, almost like a wrinkly looking texture. And we didn't notice that either until we cleaned it up. And it looks like wrinkles. And so what we were told is only 3 species have this: humans, great apes, and primates. Bears and wolves have pads. They're different than this. This is like our foot. And I guess it makes sense because these look like little wrinkles. Right there, you can kind of see, if I hold the phone up, you can see the toes. Once you see it, these are the 3 small toes. And so what you got here is the mud like squeezing up between the toes. These are the last 3 toes. The big toe's right here. Second big toe would be right about there. But you can see, and then it comes around here, the heel, and then back around in here to the little toe.
So the first year I kept a journal, and I made an entry while loading materials on the beach, heard what sounded like a baby crying in the woods, and I just wrote weird. And I called somebody up, and he said, "Did you have women at the cabin?" And I said, "I don't think so." I said, "I only had women out there one trip that first year." And but I knew that it was my wife and 2 of her best friends, and it was her best friend's one of the girls. It was her birthday. So I asked my wife. I was like, "Hey, what's this girl's birthday? What day is it?" She told me the day. It was June 25th, and that's the date on the entry of the journal. My wife and her best friend, now they know about the baby crying, and they want to discount it. So they're in the woods, and they, independent of each other, one was using the outhouse, the other one was when they were berry picking. They heard the baby crying in the woods, and they didn't say anything to each other because they didn't want to freak each other out. One of them couldn't take it anymore, so they spilled their guts to the other one. And my wife's friend comes in, she goes, "Scott, we got to tell you something." And so I walked out, and I said, "What?" She goes, "We heard the baby crying in the woods." And I said, "Well, if you heard it, I recorded it because I put the recorder out there." It's only when women are out here. It's never, we haven't heard it. It's only when women are out here. It's just a strange thing.
This strange baby crying story stood out in particular. In the culture of the Tlingit people of southeast Alaska, there is a story of the Kushtaka, or otter man, which is described as a hairy man-like creature. The Kushtaka was described as emitting a crying sound in order to lure women towards them. Thinking about that further made me wonder about the stories of the Kushtaka actually being a Sasquatch swimming, as there have been reported sightings of these creatures swimming between channels on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and even in southeast Alaska. Overall, this made me beg the question of what was really going on at Area A. With these countless stories I was hearing, the desire to visit in person and investigate it for myself were quite tempting. Almost exactly a year after initially making contact with Scott, in May of 2022, we headed for Alaska to spend a week at the cabin. Joining me as usual was Eli Watson, but also our companion Ron Reed. Ron is a hardcore backpacker and avid Bigfoot researcher, somebody that has been along with us on previous expeditions to Northern California and Oregon. Ron isn't afraid to get out there and get his hands dirty. That's exactly the kind of person I wanted along on a task as big as this one. We would also be joined by Rob Roy. Given his many previous trips out to the cabin, it would be great to have him along with us for part of the trip. Crew assembled, we landed in Anchorage, Alaska, and were headed to the rugged Kenai Peninsula.
Pretty epic, huh?
Made it, boys. This is home for the next week. Oh. Is that view gonna get old?
Probably not, unless it,
This is the chair. This is the famous rusty chair. I believe it was here with the property. But we have found several things. We found a rock on it one time that we know nobody left. Nobody leaves anything on this thing. One of those fishnet rocks that you'll find laying around here that were used as weights. And then we found that South American percussion instrument we have up on the cabin. One time we arrived and it was sitting on this chair. Last year, the first trip, when we arrived, we showed up. A tree, I want to say it might have been that one. It's pretty new. It may have been this one. I thought it was bigger around, but anyway, it was alive, but it was bent over and sitting here crossing this path from the beach. Normally when we arrive, we come up this way. So that was a little unusual, although, snowfall, it was like snowfall. This tree was bigger around than this. It was about 8 inches diameter. It was just like snow had fallen on it. It was bent totally over. It was still alive. It wasn't broken. We tried to, we pick it up and it would just fall back down, and we're like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. No other trees were fallen, which is the strange thing. The old timers would make and use as weights to weight their nets down to go fishing. But yeah, this is the rock he found on his boat.
That one?
I think it was him and Ian, not this one particular, but these things are just all over. This is a pile of them. They're under here. There's hundreds of them under here. So we think somebody was putting them together here. Like an old timer set, just made hundreds of them in his spare time.
In there, yeah, I see them
They're
sticking
everywhere.
out, yeah.
And you'll see them on the beach too. You'll see them spread out, hanging, just sitting in the beach. But Scott, and I think it was Ian, was out there, and they cleaned up the boat. It's when we anchored it out there before the dock, and they cleaned the entire deck of the boat out. It was spotless, they said. They woke up the next morning, and one of these rocks was sitting right there on the deck of the boat. And they know it wasn't there when they went to bed. So, you know, I joke around, call them squatch rocks, but it's the rock squatches prefer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where you found possible track right here?
No, we did spot something that looked like a track, and we ended up, we thought we'd just cast it, and it turned out to be a boot.
Right.
But we thought it's good practice. But the other track that we have found that's legitimate was up there.
Yeah.
The infamous bathroom is over there. Can't see it.
I think I'm gonna let's venture over to it. See if anything has walked here. You've got the general aware of the trail here. Wow, look at this.
Actually, there were two. One of them's gone.
This environment is
Never
nuts.
found it.
Alright, we made it to the bathroom.
They do not like the bathroom. This is the. So see the girl's hand mirror? There?
Oh yeah.
Nothing really. I mean,
so you've had that out here?
This has been out here. This was out here the first time we came out here. It's been here all winter, but there were two. Now,
Yeah. So the other one is just gone, huh?
So I've looked around. I haven't found it. I've been keeping my eyes out. The first time we ever left a jar of peanut butter on this, we came back 2 weeks, and the jar of peanut butter was laying down there. Jar top was gone, and only about a quarter much peanut butter was in it. There were mouse turds in it, and like little bitey marks. But it was nighttime. We're all looking at it with our headlamps on, and the first thing we all noticed was there was this gigantic leaf that was smashed into the peanut butter.
Huh.
You know, like you really had to smash it. And we all thought it. We all went, I wonder if they were using it to scoop, you know, because that's what it looked like. Well, I don't know. But it was interesting, and we never found the top. We never found the top to it. The second time, we left 2 jars. I'm not sure, it was somewhere over here. I think it might have been over there, about 30 feet in the woods. Both jars of peanut butter were laying on the ground next to each other, just sitting there. Not opened, just sitting there.
Weird.
No scratch marks, no indications it was a bear. It's just weird.
This environment, I mean, you got all this moss.
You see how hard it is to see a footprint?
Yeah, it's gonna rise up in a
right
few.
Here is where we found, that's where we found the footprint. This was
The
all
one,
dirt. We had just moved the toilet over, so this was all fresh dirt.
Wow.
And we found that one, and it wasn't just one, you could see another one here, but you just couldn't make detail out. But yeah, this seems to be, we have sensors that have gone off repeatedly around here.
Tell me about this one story. What this guy saw something.
Well, this
here?
gentleman came out to help Scott, and came out. He had to use the bathroom. It was like 9 o'clock at night, so it's pretty dark. Scott told him to, grab a gun and a flashlight. Oh, I don't need that, So he grabs his iPhone. He comes up here with his flashlight on his iPhone. He's using the restroom, and he said the whole time he felt like he was being watched. And this is the guy that just stated he's not afraid of anything. He's a big, manly Alaskan guy, right? So he says he felt like he was being watched. So he does his business, and he walks. This is when the trail was this way. He walked about right here. No, it was right up here. He looked to his left, and see that stump right there? About 4 feet above the stump, he saw a pair of red eyes. At that point, he tripped over this stump, and he fell, and he landed, and he looked back, and the eyes were about 10 feet over that way. And he took off. He just ran right straight to the cabin, I guess. So Scott, the next day, walked around there, and it was more in the summer, so there was more bushes on that. But Scotty had to climb up and reach, like this high. He said, was it this high? He said, yeah, they were about that high, the eyes. And I'm thinking, was it an owl? Was it, could have been, what could it be besides a Sasquatch? I don't know, but it scared this guy, So this way up here, I did put a motion sensor up here right there. I gotta put new batteries, and there's one. But this whole area, and I tell you what, when we put the sensors, I moved 2 sensors way over to that part of the forest. We put little pieces of thread about 7 feet high across.
Oh, hello. Go ahead. Just as I fall through the
Look at notice around. Look around. You don't see rocks, do you? No rocks. Really hard to find rocks around here.
What do you got there, Eli?
just a break, but you know, I don't know. It looks like it's been snapped, you know, but
It does. But this, okay, so this is the upper fire pit.
this is it.
This is it.
Wow. Glacier View fire pit.
It was about, this is about where I heard, I think it may have been a little to the right there, but this is about where I heard my first 2 tree knocks come from, right this area. And I was standing right down there on the beach. So you can see, you know, you can see me, or if I was standing there. So you could see the person standing there.
Sure.
But it came from here. There were 2 loud knocks. This is also where we found a huge tree. You heard Victor talk about this, but this tree.
So the tree upside down?
No, it was like it was about an 8-inch diameter tree, maybe 10 feet long, and it was shoved into that hole. You can still see the hole. It was shoved clear into there. And it made no sense because we're looking, okay, there's no broken down tree. It had to fall this way to wedge itself, but there was no tree. You know, no broken, no half a tree laying down there. It was just like something stuck it in there.
Am I being weird about this rock?
No, I don't. You know what?
Look, it was like this.
I didn't put that there.
Right? It looks placed, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Scott and them put it there?
I'll tell you what I put is that mirror that you're almost at right there.
Yep, that one right there.
Now twice I've come up here and that mirror, and it was last time I was here, that mirror was over there about 15 feet. The first time it happened was 2 summers ago. I think 2 or 3. Oh, 2 or 1. But same thing, I had this mirror was sitting like this, and I came up here, it was gone. And I found it over there about 15 feet away, and it was just, you know, I didn't see any like fingerprints or anything weird on it. So this 2 weeks ago I came out here, again, it's gone. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I found it again over there, but this time I found these little teeth marks on it. See? And I thought, oh,
no way.
Maybe it's a marten, or you know, some kind of a little
Animal
weasel or
grabbing
something.
it or something. Yeah.
It's attracted to the shiny thing and dragged it away, but.
Our first night on location, we opted to play it cool and just do a fire down by the cabin. A lot of times they've had incidents happen here was when people were just sort of hanging out, so our approach was to keep it simple at first, especially as we were all quite tired from the traveling. The evening was uneventful, and one by one we peeled off to head to sleep. But the overnight audio we deployed outside the cabin told a different story. Both of those vocals and the splashing sound was very likely either a seal or a sea lion, given both were present in the area, although it was still intriguing to hear. The night went on without any further incident. Found this old cabin that's up at the creek or the river. It's a little ways up. There's a lot of snow up there, kind of going down towards it right now, but we're probably going to try and go find that and another cabin. This area had a few people living here about 100 years ago before it was all abandoned, but definitely really cool to see something like that structure, not something you'd expect. Looks like it's in pretty good shape.
It is. I was shocked.
Where's that at? Over there?
Pictures of it, I'm telling you, you'd want to buy it.
in there?
Nobody's been there for probably 20 years.
We found out.
So yeah, we're about to go do some exploring. We're gonna go find that old cabin that we found on the drone. Supposedly there's another cabin across the bay over here. We're gonna go try and find that too. Obviously it's pretty serious out here, so we've got some protection. We've got radio backup in case we need to talk to people, but we're gonna have to get, it's tricky, looks deceptively close, but we're gonna have to actually deploy a boat across to get to the other side of the bay there. So should be definitely an interesting time. You guys ready for this?
I think so.
You think, Rob Roy?
I think I'm ready.
Eli? You ready?
I'm ready.
Alright. I just threw that off the top of the boat. So I'm trying to get him to take you right outside of the mooring buoy, which is where we used to live before we started. The cabin was fully
You guys
done.
would camp over on that
We
side?
no, right here on the buoy.
Oh, on the
This is-
buoy. This
so-
is where the original stuff happened.
And this is also where the original stuff, like we'd go to the boat, right? And within 5 to 10 minutes, we'd hear that hollow baseball bat right there on top of that hill. It'll be followed by the other one within 5 seconds over there. It was always here first.
Yeah.
Always that hill, without fail.
Whenever we ventured out from the relative safety of the cabin, the risks multiplied. Given just how remote we were, a simple fall or slip could become a life-threatening injury, far from any sort of rescue. Thus, traveling in numbers was wisest. The threat from known wildlife here is probably the greatest of anywhere in North America. The forests around this area are populated with large mammals like wolves, black bears, lynx, mountain goat, and two of the most dangerous animals on the continent, the Alaskan moose and the Alaskan Peninsula brown bear. Slug, so
Probably 100 feet.
yeah, it looks like it fell over.
Yeah, it does. Rocks placed on the roof. That must be just roof storage or something. Smokehouse or something.
Whoa, it's a little slippery.
Boarded up the windows. That's kind of odd. Nobody's been here for so long.
They got another little structure out back here.
Yeah, a little shed or something.
Yep. Well, I don't know. I think that might be like a food storage thing. I don't know.
It looks like it's built up for bears.
Yep.
Or there could have been an old staircase up there. Look at the wood they're using for the roof there. It's just like logs.
It's old. But this looks scratched up or not mashed out.
I'm guessing they just kind of haven't been up here in like 10 years or more. And maybe they come every other year or something. I don't know. Scotty's never seen them.
Well, we checked out the cabin. Not a lot going on. Very thick snow all around here, so we were kind of hoping to see if maybe there were footprints or anything around. It doesn't look like anything has been in the area. No bear, mountain goat tracks, nothing. So we're gonna keep going down to the bay, try and find this old trail. Supposedly another old abandoned cabin up that way. Maybe we'll try to find that as well. It looks like a post hole, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a look. It looks like a deer. And the deer track too. Deer. Whoa, yeah, you see that?
Look at he sank in.
Oh god.
Oh, there it goes.
Yep. Damn. Well, it's the first one was
there was something there. Bob Roy kind of took it out.
It all up. Dude, this is where the seals are.
Yeah.
That's something. What a hiding spot there, huh?
Yep.
So,
Homie.
you know, it's kind of amazing. It looks like this has been pretty well.
Definitely not a view that'll get old, but we're back in the bay right now. It's just amazing knowing how much wildlife is here. You have moose, brown bear, black bear, mountain goat, lynx, wolves, martins, all kinds of stuff, and that's just the terrestrial creatures. And in the ocean you have a lot of these, of course, fish. We got the salmon, we got the halibut. Incredible. You got orcas, whales, seals, sea lions. This place truly is so biodiverse. It's actually unbelievable. And then you have, of course, stories of something Sasquatch-like. To me, if there were a place for something like that to exist, this is pretty ideal. With just the amount of food sources and the different things you have, how remote it is to get out here. That's just, for me, it just seems to make sense. If there were a place, this would absolutely be it. But what do you think, Eli?
I think it's honestly a pretty incredible place. I don't know how to describe it really. It's very rugged, very rough to traverse, I think Rob Roy was saying earlier, I don't think we filmed him, it's kind of a pain to get anywhere. It's like really, like even just to get to this spot, you have to take like an hour-long boat ride. This really is super remote. Like if it's gonna be somewhere, it's gonna be here.
Yeah.
You would believe how good you get. You could run on a beach like this.
Back to that food source conversation. You got mussels, all kinds of stuff, kelp, seals, obviously a lot of high protein sources. That's the thing that gets me here is the amount of protein sources.
Yeah.
From there to there, you have just an insane amount.
You have fish, you have kelp, seaweed, and then you have your deer, your berries. You've got all kinds of food sources.
Martins, small creatures, large creatures, everything in between.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that at least some of these spruce needles have some edible quality to them as well, because you can make spruce tea that can provide vitamin C.
Well, and the fish runs that come in here are incredible.
That might
Salmon.
be, I bet.
It's just incredible. About we should go back and get
You guys shoot a gun?
No.
What?
Okay.
No.
Well,
Somebody shot a gun.
Somebody shot a gun?
Knocks and a growl.
you heard a growl right behind you guys.
Yeah, when y'all were getting in the Zodiac.
You heard a growl?
Yeah, there was a knock up there when y'all were getting.
But he heard a growl as well.
I thought y'all shot the gun, and I looked over to see how. And
I told him I didn't think he would have.
So as we were out exploring the area behind me there, two of the guys were still here in the cabin. One was sleeping and the other one heard what he thought was a gunshot. He thought one of us had actually shot a gun over there. We didn't shoot any guns. We were crashing through the trees. We were kind of doing our thing. I don't think we got it on audio, but he thought that one of us shot a gun apparently. So I don't know if that was a knock or something like that, but unfortunately we have no way of telling without the audio. Hopefully we can get the next incident or anything like that happens, we might be able to record it. Nice job.
Normally men.
I was trying, but I was missing.
Was that rolling?
It was. That's the second.
Okay.
So we're gonna go up to the upper fire pit, and from what I understand, there's a history of weird stuff going on when people are up there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit further away from this main site.
Yes, it
here.
is. I'm a little nervous about it.
But we want to try some interesting stuff. So we've got the singing bull.
Right.
We're gonna play with that during the night and leave it out there when we're done, and maybe have an audio recorder out there. We're not gonna. We have thermal units, but I don't want to use the IR from the cameras. Use it to a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're on the fire, if we are filming with the handy cams, just run non-night vision, no IR. Just for the moment. I mean, maybe there's a possibility IR, they can sense it or something. I don't know. I'm not saying that's a fact. There's no basis for that, but let's just keep our impact kind of to a minimum, aside from creating noise and some sort of an attractive kind of event or something unusual.
Right.
That's all I wanted to say. So if anyone else has any thoughts or anything or ideas, I mean, we're all ears.
I'm going to be
Keep our ears peeled,
I'm going
that's
to be
all.
down here at the cabin.
So yeah, we're going to have...
I'm going to be monitoring down here, and if we hear something, we can at least go, hey, did you hear that, or did you not hear that?
Yes, so we will be in radio communication with the main site here. We'll be Site B up there.
Sure.
So then, do we at any point during the night want to attempt doing any wood knocks?
That's a question.
If we absolutely only with what he has, okay?
Sure.
With the gaff and that,
And
because
so
I told you
we'll
about
do
the
that, and we'll do
Latin
that, and
block doesn't
yeah.
seem
The block? Yeah, so
But
yeah, we'll
he's-
try that as well. Yeah.
So we have the wooden handle gaff, and if you hit the handles together, it sort of makes a different sound. I don't know what's different about it, but whatever's different about it seems to make them more reactive
Sure.
to
And
what we're doing.
the whole point of that singing bowl is we're just playing with it tonight. We leave it out there during the night and leave an audio recorder, see if something maybe wants to play with it or try
I mean,
it.
they seem to want to imitate every audio
Based on
sound
from
that
what
they
we heard.
hear, like any audio-based interaction,
Yeah. Let's do it.
Just
Sounds
we're
good.
throwing stuff against the wall,
Yeah.
and see what happens.
Never know.
Yeah.
Scotty.
Yeah.
Right there, that rock right there.
I didn't put that there.
I gotta ask Deans.
Did you really?
I didn't.
I thought
didn't
you put it there. That's why.
Yeah, I don't. I did not put that there.
That's not me. You know that.
All right,
Yeah,
hold on.
I know Scott didn't. I didn't.
Film this. Hey, look at that. It's been placed here.
Be 100% certain.
This
I
rock.
bet you.
Or Charlie,
No, Charlie wouldn't have done that.
because they were with me here, but I don't remember them doing that.
Nope.
So no one remembers placing this rock
Remember
here.
the trees that was trapped?
It's just
Yeah.
And they got ripped
placed.
off?
Yep.
So, Alex,
so odd.
we had a trackway coming up this hill. If you look over that edge.
Weird. That's not easy.
No.
That's
a 100-foot drop to the ocean.
Bigfoot Bushcraft sent us this awesome little fire starter kit. So these are basically fire starter plugs. Strike them with a ferro rod, which we've gotten here, and burns pretty easy. We tried them out, works great. But you're supposed to, it says bend plug in half back and forth like this, right? Do that. So what you're trying to do is expose a lot of that fibrous kind of stuff and then rip it in half. I can just use this one half for now. There we go.
There it is.
Order now. Whole food.
That did a nice job.
It's going.
That's it.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna be quiet. Yeah, saw it.
They say they call it the saw wet because it sounds like a wet saw blade getting pulled through a tree, which sort of makes sense, but normally they're on this side of the bay, so we should be happy that they're over there, because you can imagine that thing, being 400 yards away or 300, how loud it would be.
They're such a small owl, but they're
tiny. It's only
carry
6
so
inches.
well.
I've never seen one. I've only heard them.
Yo,
You see something?
what am I looking at?
You got something?
Hold on.
Record. Hit record. Hey guys.
Yeah?
Get behind Ron. He sees something. Get thermal.
Yep.
You see something?
I don't see anything. I'm scanning.
Get behind Ron.
Scanning.
I've seen him out of sight.
It's just a little bit of white heat on my thing.
Well, you get
Yeah, there's a
behind
tree right in front of it too. You're probably seeing that tree.
I'm gonna shine a light in that direction, see if it does anything. You guys see any eye shine or anything?
No?
I mean, it could be nothing, but I don't know what it is.
But I mean, even if you had 10 seconds of video, right? We could say it's nothing, and then we can come back in 10 minutes and look and see if it's nothing again. You know?
It's true.
Mm-hmm. Is this like white hot
Nothing much.
mode on this guy? I'm assuming not.
It should have all different kinds if you can find the menu.
Did you hear that?
I heard that.
You heard that.
Yeah, I heard that.
I got it. Yeah, it's one of those buttons.
The mic heard it too.
Pop up.
What's that?
I'm hoping the mic heard it too, but I'm nervous because I don't know.
And it's then you gotta
wanna
figure
make
out
sure that the
arrows,
battery didn't
which
die.
pop in.
Wait.
I heard it again.
That's Doc. That was gangway.
Film this.
Oh, that's cool.
What's the idea here?
We've been playing with this thing, making some racket with it. Now we're gonna leave it here and see if maybe we get something playing with it overnight. We got a recorder over there, not too far.
Should we put it closer to the recorder, maybe? Yeah, away from the fire.
Oh, put this over. Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
right here. We'll see.
Okay. Ron, you remember we put this, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's been touched. Doesn't look like it to me, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, the recorder wasn't messed with or anything like that.
It's just some pine needles.
I
in
think
there.
we should leave it and then just do that. Make a little noise for 30 seconds and then I'd be really impressed if they came all the way down here to begin with. Like even that should be all the way up there.
Yeah.
You know?
That gunshot that John heard, that was, well, as soon as we started moving to the other side of the bay, and that would have been from up around here. I mean, that whole hill up there, I think once we get up there, we leave that up there, maybe move it, or
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we got a glacier to go explore.
Let's go.
On this day, we planned to head to a nearby glacier to explore the area.
A little bit more. We're still good.
Just a little bit.
Just keep going.
The wave is giving us a little boost.
Oh shit. I may be able to get out.
All right, here. Let's try this.
One person at a time. How's that? There you go.
Oh shit. Everybody good?
Yep. So we made it ashore. A little chaotic coming in, but we made it. There's a brown bear seen going up that way like 10 minutes ago. Like right before we came ashore. So here's hoping.
We made it. We're in one piece.
We're alive?
Yeah.
So we're now on the shore. We're gonna go hike back to this glacier, look for tracks. We did see a brown bear up on the hill above us. And I think it's an interesting time to talk about grizzly bears versus brown bears. They're essentially the same thing, and he was an Alaskan, can kind of help us with that. They're the same thing, but what's the difference between a grizzly and a brown bear?
Basically, the difference is the grizzly bears are inland bears and the brown bears are coastal bears. So, you know, with the coast, you got a lot more food source. You got the salmon and the fish, and so they have more food. Grizzly bears inland, they have to work a little harder for their food. Not as much, so they're smaller, basically a little smamer.
So they're bigger here.
Just as nasty though.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. All right, well, let's go look for tracks and just kind of
Good.
enjoy. We've got some time to check this area out.
Yeah, just keep your eyes peeled.
That's a halibut.
Halibut. Pretty jagged. Look at that.
Could be a
Golden bear.
Oh yeah, that's definitely.
Could have been a brown bear.
look at all these.
Some birds.
Oh, yeah, that is moose, all right.
That's a big ass moose.
Nice. About 7 inches. 7 inches wide, 7 inches across. Oh, we got moose. That's cool.
Good. I mean, not that big. It's been washed around.
Sure,
but still.
Cutting across. Get to the other side.
Wow.
Stubby feet.
See all that? Look at that, Eli.
Bear depression.
Right here,
Creeping through here.
right here.
Not even been the one Scotty saw.
It's like my whole foot.
Yeah. Look at this. This is like deer.
Whoa.
Look at that.
As we made our way towards the glacier, we realized just how far away it actually was. They say everything in Alaska is bigger than anywhere else and seems further away, which was certainly the case here.
Making a phone call via satellite phone. We'll see if anyone picks up. I didn't tell anyone the number, so they'll probably think it's a spam call.
While paralleling the river, we began seeing more bears on the hill above us, given it was springtime and they were just coming out of hibernation. So we decided not to push on further due to the distance to the glacier and the unpredictability factor of this situation.
Good?
Beautiful. Been wanting to come here for a couple years.
And up on the hill, we've been watching 3 black bears.
Literally watching them now.
Literally, they're right there.
Then there was the porcupine from earlier as well. So, you know, it just adds, it complements the variety of different wildlife that we're seeing over by the cabin. Just adding to the Alaskan wildlife roster. Everywhere we go, every corner and nook and cranny, each new cove that we explore, it's adding more animals.
Oh,
that are still in the potential range of a Sasquatch who can probably wrap around and navigate some of this rough terrain.
And cut over the mountains and stuff, because this is tough for us.
Oh yeah.
But clearly all these animals are getting through
And
fairly
it's so
easily.
isolated.
Yeah.
I
Very
usually
slow.
live out here with no one knowing.
Yeah, you'd be out here completely undetected, and I mean, for all practical purposes, there are no humans out here.
Nope.
Maybe some moose hunters every season, once or twice,
Maybe
or
some
maybe
fishermen.
Yeah, and that's
Load
really
on
it.
in. That's it.
One of the initial reasons for branching out to explore this area was its viability for wildlife. This whole region, and much of the Kenai Peninsula, consists of small bays and inlets, nestled around the jagged mountains, with forests lining the shores. Any of these areas can easily support dozens of species on land and in the water, so why not something like Sasquatch? It was in one of these very bays in which survivalist Les Stroud had an unusual encounter some years ago while filming Survivor Man. He described some sort of large creature stomping through the woods, beating its chest and making gorilla noises. This encounter was well before Les created his Survivor Man Bigfoot show, and Scott actually personally knows the boat captain that was contracted to drop Les off in this region. The captain described picking up Les after his days out in the wild, and the first thing Les spoke of was the possibility of Sasquatch being real. A curious story indeed, as any of these many inlets could be where he was. While this region is in a temperate rainforest, when we were there, rainfall was lacking. So on our way back to the cabin, we went to collect some water for drinking and cooking. This was yet another reminder of the plentiful natural resources found here, with snowmelt creating this river that fed right into the ocean. One week prior to our trip out to the cabin, Scott and a friend visited for a few nights. One of their evenings was spent by the fire pit near the cabin, and while they were filming with a pulsar thermal camera, they noticed a large heat signature on the hill. It remained there for quite some time, but unfortunately there isn't much detail visible as the focus was not properly turned on. We figured we would take it upon ourselves to recreate the footage to see if there were any similarities. We first headed up to the area of where this heat signature originated to see what the area looked like in the daylight. Oh, look at this. Big black bear.
Big poo.
Here, buddy. Come here.
Look at that.
Yep.
I know. Look at something sat there. I was blown away.
Well, look at this, right? You've got right here. It's like something slid down here.
Yeah.
And you've got impressions right in the ground.
Right.
Man, has anyone sat in this?
No. We didn't touch it. It sat here and watched us.
Something was sitting here. The fire pit is directly down there. See if I can zoom in on it.
Have you seen anything like
Yep, I can see the fire pit. So the thermal, you guys were sitting there directly at the fire pit, and then this area was kind of lighting up.
Just stand over here. I'm telling you, there's one channel that goes right to the fire pit. You can see that orange flag.
Yeah.
Yep, the
See
two
that?
flags. Yep, I see them from here. Yeah.
But if you line up the orange flags,
Oh, you can see the peanut butter truck too. Really? See the toilet over there?
That's
You can
weird,
see a lot
man.
from right here.
look.
Along here. And some of these trees are just worn
Yeah,
down and shit, you know, and it could be bear or deer or
Even
something.
here, but
Yeah, I mean,
that is interesting.
places are to hide.
Well, look at this.
Oh, see that? Yeah, that's what I'm
That
talking
is
about. See, that's something did that.
Wow.
Something-
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a bear,
It could be, yeah.
you know,
but that was
something
done,
did
yeah.
that.
I mean, I could do that if I was to, you know.
Yeah. And
Look at that.
you
Well,
see-
I
you
just
see
did that now, but
Doesn't
yeah.
take much.
Okay. So I'm gonna put the chair right where he was sitting, right here.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can see those flags now.
Oh, we'll see.
It's right up that channel. Right
We'll find them.
I think I can see.
There you go. The first one is on that first spruce right there.
I see
there
it.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so come right here. So this is where he was sitting. Right here.
The exact
And literally,
angle.
I was right here, and I couldn't see anything. And the thermal was taken by a guy who's literally legally blind. But he can, and when Charlie looks around, I think he's looking through a tunnel. Like if I walk in his peripheral, you and I would go, oh, you don't move out of the way. I mean, he can't see that. But he was sitting right here. I was 2 feet away, 3 feet away right here. And he kept seeing something on the thermal. It was a hot signature, whatever it was. And he handed me the thermal. I couldn't see anything. There was nothing there. And I really didn't think he was seeing anything. So that's why I didn't get up and move around and look, you know, from his perspective. So, but that's pretty much it. So that was where he's sitting. He's looking up through a channel. You'll see a channel between the trees during daylight. And we flagged that trail just so that we had, because when we were sitting here the next morning, there was a snowfield that was up there, you know, where it hadn't melted off yet. And what we did was we flagged a line to that snowfield, and so that we would have a perspective for you guys.
So what we'll do is we'll try to recreate it. I mean, as best we can.
Yeah.
These two guys, you three guys, all go up there, set up, and then whoever wants to be the sitter, the other two guys can either crouch down behind the log or behind a tree, just so you're not giving a thermal hit and the one person sitting there.
If you were to sit there, you can look straight at the fire pit. You can see.
We've seen that.
It's just crazy.
Yeah,
Right.
it's weird.
All right, let me grab the walkie
That's
for
a
you guys.
good call. We've got a fire going. I can see the guys up in the woods. I'm just getting in position to line this up. We know we've got a couple features that we can tell. There's some little flags hanging in the trees up there that line up the position. So from their position, they should be able to see the fire pretty well.
We are in position.
Yeah, we can see you guys clear as day. I'm sure you can see us by the fire.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so Rob Roy is still in position right now.
I'm trying to kind of lean close to, you know, I've got this big tree in front of me and I can block them if I want to.
Really?
Yeah. I'm trying to swing out and give like a real thin profile, because that thing looks like a snake stuck to the tree.
Yeah, what if it's just like the side of the arm?
Could be. Yeah, I mean this tree right in front of me, you see that?
I don't. I mean, I do,
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's right there, so
yeah.
I can literally hide myself from them and just peek around it while I'm sitting here. It's a perfect spot for spying.
Now I'm still getting that humanoid circle, or with the focus, humanoid shape. Okay, doesn't look like a straight line.
What's that?
Can you have Rob Roy stand up straight on that log and just have him stand there still.
Yep. Oh God.
Yeah, he's in the process of
Okay, I'm standing.
He's standing now.
Let's see. Let's try this.
Yeah, I see the tree. And now when I do it, it's a circle with a little streak going up.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean it's similar, but I don't.
It's
Still,
bigger. He looks bigger to me.
it does, and the focus to me is what's tricky on that one.
Yeah.
It was like a straight up red line. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're pretty much satisfied with that recreation. So when you guys are all set, just come on back and we'll discuss it.
Something sat there for a long time. I mean, that moss is completely...
It is so comfortable too.
Destroyed.
It's perfect. I mean, I will say that it is a perfect.
Were your legs, because we haven't sat on it, were your legs extended? Were you bent at the knees? Or
I think my legs were barely touching, I want to say.
your feet on the ground? Okay.
But I was sitting comfortably.
Yeah.
All I had to do is just look right down, and I could just go whoop like that and disappear behind that tree. I don't know if you guys picked that up.
Well, I mean, I could see the thing is
you were an orange ball.
Yeah, you were an orange ball with
really?
the focus off.
So I was trying to do the peak thing a little bit just to maybe show a sliver, because I could go left, I could go right of the tree.
Unfortunately, we were not able to transfer the recreation footage from the thermal unit for the sake of the comparison. For what it's worth, as the one using the thermal, from what I could tell, Rob Roy appeared quite a bit more round, like an orange ball of light, even with the thermal out of focus. Overall, the original thermal video was quite inconclusive, so there isn't a lot of further information we can glean from it. We felt it was still worth the recreation attempt, however. For the rest of the night, we hung around the fire and then moved into the woods for a little bit to sit and observe in silence, but it was eerily quiet. We left one overnight audio recorder in the forest, and out of the whole night of almost complete silence, there was very little aside from these possible knocks around 3 a.m. All three of these percussives happened within a 24-second span. We've seen some humpback whales in the bay, so we've deployed out here to see if we can film any of them. We can see them spouting. Day 4 off to such an exciting start with the humpback whales, we decided to use the day to fully explore the forests around the cabin, as we were still unfamiliar with what lay beyond. Given we were just about halfway through the trip, it felt wise to fully learn the lay of the land here. Today we're going to head up on the hill above the cabin, kind of this whole area. We've flown the drone up there. It's pretty desolate. I don't know, there's some snow up at a higher elevation, but we'll see how high we can get up. I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting.
We were up there, me and Scott were making our way up there, and he says that there's going to be a lot of different wildlife sign up there. Once you start getting up closer, we'll expect some more deer sign. We've seen plenty of that down here, but then also there's some good sign of porcupine,
yeah,
and some different types of animals. So we'll have a roster of new wildlife and their corresponding sign to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, I should say that Scott has mentioned, he thinks at least, and the people at the cabin who've experienced stuff seem to say that a lot of the sounds emanate from up on that hill, whether it be knocks or whoops or some of these screams up over there and on this other side of this draw over there. So these two areas, obviously up there, probably more interesting, but we'll check them both out. But we're going to head up primarily there right now. So yeah.
Yeah, this was like the feed bucket for a lure for a bear snare. And if you look over on this tree over here, there's the old cable that used to be tied. Yeah, bear would get trapped. And Scott said that, you know, typically if they catch a bear, that's when they'll cut the cable and haul the bear out. So he seems to think that since this was cut, then, you know, they got a bear and they just left everything else up here.
Yeah, back then that type of hunting was legal, you know.
Yeah.
Bait it up and just
come
right here and get them.
Oh, it's survival first, you know, nature second.
How many rules back then? I mean, still not a lot of now, but there's more. And we saw the other day at that glacier, you know, the amount of black bear up there, brown bear.
Yeah. Healthy populations even today. So
oh yeah, there's
that was a staple in their diet.
Yeah, so where we are now, I mean, this is above the upper fire pit, which is down there somewhere. If we were down at the fire pit, you could have someone up here just looking right down at us the whole time. I mean, this trail isn't that bad. I'd say we go all the way to the point.
Yeah, I'm down to come back up.
Kind of the confusing part. I mean, we're walking along this trail, so you can imagine if something is walking, maybe nicks its shoulder or something along one of these branches. The problem we're having though is so much of what's on here maybe slightly looks like hair, but it's all old man's beard or moss. So it's virtually, this whole tree is covered in hair looking fibers.
What's misleading is it's got all different coloration
exactly.
too. So it's been green, which we know isn't hair.
There's green, you got brown, you've got lighter, you've got
even black.
I've seen black. Yep. So, but look at this. I mean, you can see it's clearly this has been used. Whether it's humans, game, other things, something is using this trail, and it gives us that perfect view up over down where the cabin is and where the upper fire pit is. So you have just the high ground. High ground is where strategically where it's at.
Hold on, I want to see the
1, 2, 3 right here.
This has been worn out.
If that's coincidental or not.
Well, to the general health, I started to see a few more mushrooms and stuff. I wonder if there's some fungal decay going on over here.
I mean, it could be that this is a wind alley.
Oh, the bricks go all the way down, you see them? Well, kind of. It's the possible bedding area here. It's very compressed looking. There's a trail that comes in, very worn. It follows up. Alex went up that way. But this is a trail that shot off of the main trail that we were just following. And Ron found that. Whatever that is. Yeah, let's go up this way.
I thought this was a small, just like an outpost, you know, place you can observe things from. The rest of it is up there, but no, you could just hang out here.
This would, okay, so this is a secondary observational point. It's a little bit more outermost, so where you can see outside of the cove a little bit. And then it's also just a highway for animal traffic. So if that's two reasons that something could come down from the big mountain to hunt and to glass.
Something could be out here, let's say an hour before we came up here. We start making our way up, this thing goes down the other side, we never even have a chance of seeing it. Considering how slow moving we are up here, when I say something, I mean anything. Could be moose, could be a goat, mountain goat. It doesn't have to see us at all. This is not a skinny little point. This is really wide if you can consider down there to the other side. And how much there's to hide behind. I mean, something could be hiding right there and we wouldn't even know.
Well, yeah, and there's all these little coves and inlets, and it could essentially cove hop. And what are the, you know, it's so remote out here, what's the statistical probability that the two coves side by side will be inhabited at the same time?
Yeah.
So all you got to do is jump over the saddle and you're alone again.
Yeah, we're beyond disadvantaged in a place like this. Need something to step right there, because look at that branch. See that little right there?
Oh yeah.
Means, and then you got this kind of general shape, so this thing came down like that and was stepped on. No. From over there. I mean, I don't know. It's like a marshy bog type thing. This is the end. You got the two fingers, you got the one down there and this one. It's gonna be a windy spot though.
Piece of wood, maybe a former property line or something. With
I was thinking there's no way it could have gotten up here naturally. Something could have brought it up here, somebody. We've made it to the point. We're just stopping to take a little break. Eli's got the drone up. Just basically we're surrounded by ocean. It's a good spot to maybe look out on the bay. You can see incoming boats or whatever the case may be. Animal sign all the way up, even cutting sign. We found a possible little piece of wood there with a nail on it. I don't know if that was property marker or whatever it was, but we don't really know the history here fully. We know there was some kind of settlement here, obviously in the past, but other than that, we don't know a whole lot. There he is. Yeah, he's watching us. There he goes. So that right there is a bald eagle's nest. What struck me about this area was just how mossy it truly was. The entire ground level was covered in a thick layer of spongy and deep moss, making any sorts of distinct impressions tough to find. We then headed out from the point towards higher on the hill above the cabin, the other location where people have frequently described hearing the hollow baseball bat type sounds from. Give it a try. Can I get your machete?
Yeah.
There's foot impressions going all the way up here, man. Something's been walking up this way. So right here, there's foot impressions. This thing is.
I don't know what that was.
Hey, Alex to Scott, did you guys just make any noises, any vocalizations or anything like that?
Rob is downstairs laughing as usual, but that's, I mean, I don't know if that's what you heard.
I don't know.
I think we're too high up to hear you guys because we can't really hear that boat much anymore.
You can't hear me. Let me have Rob just make a quick, loud howl, you know, like yell at you, so you have a perspective.
Yeah, sounds good. Perfect. Just let me know before you're about to do it.
In 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, we heard that loud and clear. What we heard was definitely a lot lower sounding, but it sounded like it came from beneath us somewhere.
There you go. I mean, I don't know.
Could you have him maybe just laugh in his normal sort of laugh and see if we can hear that?
He's going to laugh in a normal count or a normal cadence and volume in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, we can just faintly hear that. That may be something like what we were hearing. Hard to tell. We were kind of in the middle of climbing, so we weren't really paying too much attention, but thank you. But despite how high up we are, we're still finding game trails with obvious foot slides, foot impressions all throughout here, going kind of parallel to the steepness, which makes sense. Maybe mountain goat, I don't know. These trees keep getting bigger and bigger.
I came up this way, following this game trail all the way up. Keeps going up, and then the snow line you'll see across the cove here. Look at that view. Alright, onwards.
We're up pretty high up here. It's been a haul. I mean, we are a few thousand feet above the cabin at least. Went up these ridges. This is where I got my drone to earlier. Got a lot of snow, a lot of animal sign going straight up this way. With the snow getting deeper and more difficult the higher we got, we decided to save that hike up the mountain for another day. Overall, we felt we had scouted the area pretty well and really had a sense of how vast this ecosystem around the cabin was. This was made even more impressive just thinking about how this was only one of dozens of similar areas surrounding this massive bay. What we didn't realize at the time was that our night was about to get pretty interesting. I just heard a weird splash coming from over this direction. I'm assuming it was a seal. So we're trying to set up some tripwire now. The idea is if something were to come by, we would obviously know, setting it like 7-foot height. So let's see this one right here.
Looks good. I think so. Put this stuff down for a second. Okay. Just take a little bit right here, and what I'll do, I'll run it up here.
Yeah, the branch, yeah. That's a good idea.
This way. All it has to do is be in here. Okay, that's pretty good. And then just go like, use me since I'm so tall.
Is that good? Is that too tall?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's
We
good.
got it deployed. We'll put one maybe up towards the camp, towards the fire.
She'll be fine. She's an artist.
Here, I have
she's
more.
Good.
He's starting at red light because it looks cool.
Our approach that night was simple. Sitting around the fire and conversing and playing it cool. Everything was seemingly normal as we joked around and chatted on, until suddenly it wasn't.
Yeah, the smoke. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You hear that? Oh.
Okay.
That's a good
Are we
one. That
rolling?
was the best I've heard.
Okay, so we're kind of talking, goofing off, and and I thought I heard a knock. There it is. What the heck? It just sounded like a rock got thrown into the water, and we heard multiple knocks. Yeah. Here it goes, smack, splash.
Did you guys hear like branches break?
A little bit.
It was like branches breaking at the same time as the splash.
Oh my God.
Over there, it was.
Yeah.
That's the sound of rocks.
Something fell into the water, yeah.
Mhm.
And we had like branches.
And then the
smashed.
branches, and then more rocks. That's the best. That's the best I've heard in like 2 summers.
Just roll on that guy. Eli.
Last time they threw like 15 rocks.
Probably upset.
And it sounded just like that, but it was louder. They were closer to
Yeah,
us
I mean,
that
and here's
time.
the thing. If it was just a random noise from over there, why would we hear something hitting the water too?
Right.
And then it kept on going up there. If it was just something that broke and fell into the water, we would hear that. We wouldn't hear more knocking noises after something hits the water.
Right.
Like, should we just keep on doing our thing?
Yeah.
They're gonna be quiet if we're quiet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
We were getting pretty loud.
I know, we were.
And
I mean, we were been
that's-
goofing off, and like,
Yep.
it's been a fun conversation, you know. We attempted to recreate the sound of the rocks being thrown into the water we had been hearing.
It was like that.
Yep.
Once the initial excitement of the strange sounds died down, as we scanned with thermal units and continued to see nothing, we figured we would continue to play it cool for a bit. I heard something to the right.
What you doing here, Alex?
Just doing another tripwire. Here you go, dude.
A lower one.
Yeah, this. Wait, what? Oh, my light keeps turning off. I get it. You got it tightened?
Yep. Go for it.
All right. So, I mean, this one is pretty low, so obviously can't really eliminate other animals, but, you know, we did the fire and everything, so I guess we'll see.
For reference, the fire's right here.
Stand, it's there.
All right.
Got it. Singing Boll's out in
Sure,
the
I'll set
distance.
it off.
Right.
Okay. Boys ready?
Yeah.
End it with a here.
Before departing for the cabin, we left an audio recorder present at the upper fire pit, as well as a small trail camera hidden on the inside of a rotting tree. Sadly, Rob Roy has taken off.
I know.
Bittersweet.
It is bittersweet. I hope something epic happens. I really
last
do.
night was a good
Last
start.
night was a great one. Last night was one of the biggest events I've heard since my first summer, I think.
Yeah.
Even though we heard something down there, it wasn't quite as distinct as what we heard there. It was, we were definite what we heard. But good times.
Awesome, man.
Good times with
For
you guys.
sure.
You guys, thanks a lot.
See you, Rob Roy.
A lot of fun, man. You guys are awesome.
All right, well, so he's leaving. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hunker down in the cabin and just act like there's nobody around, and maybe something will come down. Hopefully, we'll see. But either way, time to be shut-ins for a little bit. With Rob Roy departing, it would leave myself, Eli, and Ron for a number of hours alone at the cabin while he was taken back. Quite a few of the unusual recordings they have captured of the cabin took place right after people had left via boat. So our idea was to be completely quiet and stay indoors for a while to see if we could observe or hear anything, with cameras and audio recorders on the ready. So we're just hanging out in here, reorganizing the cabin a little bit after our sort of chill out. I fell asleep. Ron did too. You mentioned you heard some stuff a little bit while we were kind of sleeping.
Yeah, but it was just like what we heard. It was like almost, or I'm not doing hand motion, but I don't know what it was.
We just heard this loud bang.
Yeah, it's like a thumping noise. So I actually rolled some audio on my phone.
You have it?
Yeah, and I screenshotted every time I heard it. Because
How many times did you hear it?
3 times.
I mean, I don't want to allude to anything, but
it's not even windy though.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, there is a history of stuff getting thrown at the cabin, but I don't want to allude to that, you know? Because I just don't know. With nothing large noticed moving around outside the cabin, and no rocks or any other debris located, we can only guess what the thumping could have been. Perhaps a smaller critter like a marten moving around, or a bird hitting the cabin. Some sounds that did catch my attention was from an audio recorder in the woods away from the cabin. The first thing that came to mind for me was it being feline in nature. With lynx being the only cat native to Alaska, that would be the only plausible feline candidate. So,
One is so good.
Yeah, we're checking out the audio from last night. We've got some definite knocks, and I'm surprised we can't hear the one splashing in the water, the rock that we heard.
I think I heard that.
Yeah, you think you heard it?
Closer around there, yeah.
Going up to switch out SD cards on a camera. We're back up at the upper fire pit. so let's see.
Taking a video now, actually. Okay, it's gonna go off in 30 seconds.
Alright, so up here at the upper fire pit, where I am right now is where I was standing when I started hearing stuff to my right. And that's what's on the audio, and we'll play it here.
Yeah, the smoke.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You hear that? That was, you know, the sound's coming from the right, and clearly something then falls from the right, which goes out to that point, right into the water, a rock or something large, kaboom, you know, hits the water. And we proceed to hear sounds after it, including that loud sounding knock noise that we have on audio. So as you can see, I mean, here's where I would have been standing, my back to the water, facing the fire. So these guys would have been sitting here. Behind us is that ridge up there, and the sounds were coming from over there, and the water's right down over there, and that's where we had the loud splash followed by knocks. And you were sitting right there, Ron. Eli and Rob Roy were right there. So just kind of going through, and I mean, we hiked up that area yesterday. Got the ridge all right up there. Goes, you know, all the way down to the end of the point. So if you're standing up there, you would have a complete view of us down here. I mean, we could see that fire from down over there, but imagine being up top of that ridge. So it was weird. It was a weird night. It's the only thing that really happened. I mean, you know, and it's like thinking about the random probability, something crashing. It wasn't windy. No. You know, let's say it was just a rock rolling down that hill. I mean, it's not as steep in that section either. And what we tried was, when I threw my rocks down here, they landed into that moss section right there. I had to actually throw out to actually hit the water underhand. So if it was something rolling from up on that hill, it'd probably get snagged before it manages to hit the water. Less dramatic of a slope right there from that cliff up there. So pretty intriguing. Later in the day, we set out to deploy some time-lapse cameras in the area around the cabin. Previous attempts by Scott to deploy trail cameras around the property had resulted in the cameras being ripped off the trees, and some even damaged. We figured somewhat disguised time-lapse cameras might be less intrusive than trail cameras that can produce noise and emit visible infrared light that is visible to some wildlife.
So currently we're on our way to deploy some time-lapse cameras. We've split up. Scott and Eli are in one group, and then
yeah, we're gonna pop these guys on some trees. Obviously they're disguised a bit with some moss, kind of make it look like this environment. There's a lot of moss and a lot of old man's beard, that kind of stuff. We'll probably add some more stuff on it, but
yep.
You wanted to do it by the creek.
Yeah, it's the only prominent freshwater source that's flowing other than stagnant pools. So I think there's probably going to be a lot of wildlife out here. We might have a good chance of capturing some type of animals.
This will just, that's the nice thing about this, it'll just run. And we can just check it with our phone, I believe. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
That might not be true, but possibly. Either way, we'll be able to check it obviously manually.
Right. And how often are they taking pictures?
That I don't know. We'll have to get that info from Scott and Eli.
Right.
Not sure.
I think they configured it to take quite a bit. It's supposed to be in relatively short intervals.
So did you hear the whole story about the one possible sighting?
No.
No, it was right here. Guy had used the outhouse and came back. Well, he goes down there like 11 o'clock at night. He and I were sitting by the fire. My wife and her girlfriend had gone to bed the same day that they'd heard the baby crying. They heard it independent of each other. One was using the outhouse, the other one was in there berry picking. And they knew what I told them, what I was told, what it meant. So they never said anything to each other because they didn't want to freak each other out. But, hold on, ready? So he and I are sitting by the fire. It's late in the season. And he used the outhouse. So I didn't have that trail that comes straight through. So he had to come up this hill to the bench, right? Come back down this trail. And he goes, yeah, I gotta use the bathroom. And I said, well, let me grab my flashlight, light my shotgun. He goes, no, I have a light on my iPhone. I said, we're not doing that. So I grabbed my headlamp, grabbed my shotgun. He comes up the trail, walks down, goes to the outhouse, and he said he's sitting in there. And he goes, dude, this is a guy he's disabled vet, grew up in Alaska, hunted fish his whole life, and he goes, I've never felt like that. He goes, I'm in there, and I know something's watching me. So he literally comes out of the bathroom, starts walking up this trail, and he was right at that stump right there. He looks left. It might have been this one right here. I think it was this one. He looks left right here, and he sees, you can see how tall the salmon gray.
Mm-hmm.
Something is looking at him just on the other side. It's about 35, 40 yards away, but it's right at the limit of the headlamp. But he sees eyes looking at him. And he's walking, he trips on this. So his head automatically snaps forward. He starts walking, he gets on the other side of these trees right here, looks up, and it's 10 or 15 feet further. It's still looking at him, and it's following him up. So
wow.
He ran back to the fire pit. He ran back to the fire pit.
Pretty well worn.
So we've got this camera set and angled to take any shots of potentially any wildlife coming over to drink from that pool down there. It's fresh water right before it empties out into the bay. So it's the last call for fresh drinking water for any of the animals that are living here. And the further we go up, you'll see that there's a lot more snow and it's harder to travel, but it's at least along the banks here. Good water access. How's that look?
So this trail was created by the guys that looked at the property 3 weeks before I bought it. You know, the guys from Georgia.
Yeah.
The guys that got freaked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty rotten.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so quiet.
You know.
Does it freak you out being out here?
No.
No?
I'm not one of those guys. I'm not a fearful kind of person, you know?
Mm.
Because whatever's out here, I just treat it like a bear.
Mm-hmm.
That one right there, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can just pull that out, so.
Yikes.
I just hate to see it come off or
Yeah.
have a bear come up here and grab it. Well, this there. Okay. This might actually be a better spot, Eli.
Cool.
So if you opened your app, you can see this camera and what it's looking at, and we can adjust it. So even if you were to take this camera down and we want to recreate something, you can take it down, put it up, and you can, with your app, you're able to see where it was, and it has these translucent lines.
This is what it's seeing.
And the one thing I don't think we hit record. I think you hit record from the app. Did you do that in the other one?
I didn't.
Okay, so
I need to go over there.
yeah, we'll
Start with.
While we had primarily been running multiple Zoom audio recorders at all times while on the property, Scott decided to set up his ARU recording unit. An ARU, or an autonomous recording unit, is often used by field biologists and those trying to study and record audio of animals in the wild. It is essentially a long-term audio recorder that can be programmed to go off at certain times.
So this is a
called a song meter. Song meter 4.
Song meter 4.
It'll hold a terabyte of info, so you can literally, I recorded through an off season out here. I put it up September, I think it was September 25th, September 27th, something like that. Didn't get back out here until April the next year, and it was still recording, so.
Okay, so long-term audio.
Oh yeah. Victory.
Nice.
Oh, schedule right there. Edit schedule. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock at night till 6 in the morning. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
All right.
You gotta be smarter than the equipment you operate, right? Okay, that's done.
Alright, so what are we about to do?
So Scott has this thermal, it's a drone with thermal capabilities, and so I'm about to take it up, familiarize myself with the controls, so in case something does happen, I can take it up real quick and maybe get it. Oh, I see, there's an actual zoom on here. Look at this. Woo!
Testing the thermal drone proved to be somewhat difficult. With such thick tree cover in the area, it was a challenge to see much through the canopy. We attempted a test by having Ron walk around the woods behind the cabin, but it was hard to see much definition of his figure, and he could easily disappear by hiding. I get the feeling that something of this nature would be more useful in a less dense area, but nonetheless, it was another tool that we could utilize in conjunction with a ground team if anything were to be spotted by a drone.
What you got here? I got a Northern Lights thing that's a speaker. I'm gonna play some music and try to do more of a light show. Continuation of last night's party. Ah. Look, you can see it on the trees. We got music playing, we got some light projections, and now we're adding glow sticks and a glowing beach ball to the mix. We're just trying to make our camp seem original and new to anything that might be watching up in the hills.
Rocking the Pulsar thermal unit. Also got on, well, I got on some bionic ears.
Here, catch. I'm passing this to Ron.
Hold on, don't drop it down the cliff.
Oh wow. This is glow stick music. Here you go, your turn. Hopefully this brings them in, dude. Alright, so we paused the music. We're gonna do a knock. We're gonna listen.
Heard something in the water. So I heard something splash in the water, but it sounded like it was actually just swimming in the water. Another day.
Oh, I think I see
another whale sighting. Day 6 began with wildlife watching. Humpback whales were spotted in the distance, and we were able to watch sea lions frolicking in the bay. A sea otter was seen as well. Following the slow start to the day, Ron and myself decided we would set out with some sea kayaks in hopes of exploring neighboring bays and inlets that might be difficult to access with the larger boat. Eli would join Scott and his friend for some fishing. Alright, Ron, you ready? Alright, you're in. You coming this way? We got the shore behind us here. Trying to figure out approximately where maybe the rock would have come in the other night when we heard something go splashing into the water after hearing those knocks and all that other weird stuff. Maybe somewhere around here. Could be anything watching us from up there. Who knows, out here?
All right. Wait, Scott, would you mind explaining the rig we got here?
Tacoma 750, but it's all electric. So if we hook a fish, all we do is go forward like this and bring the fish up. So anyway,
cool.
We're just jigging right now. So we have a big jig bouncing off the bottom because we don't have any bait. We should have bought bait at the store, I guess. Tried catching bait earlier, but no joy. We're fishing for halibut. There's some big halibut here. There's 100-pound plus halibut here. There's a lot of or not so much lingcod. We've caught big lingcod here before, but rockfish. There's some big yellow eye here, and then codfish, and then there's skates. Skates is like a stingray.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but without the sting on the ray. Huh. But
they're bottom feeders?
Yeah, we catch some giant skates. I've caught skates right here with a 6-foot wingspan, and they are a bear to bring home.
I'm going wide so that the surf can kind of bring me in. Yeah.
Oh, oh, you good?
Where you at? I don't think I can get to you.
Do you have it flipped? Okay, just stay calm. I just gotta be careful because I don't want the same thing to happen to me. Then we're really all right, just take it easy.
I have a little control. I feel like I'm making my way to the shore.
Okay, ready? All right, you okay? All right, grab onto me.
I'm right here.
All right, here.
Keep rolling right there.
Let me just get control of your boat. Okay, I got your boat here.
I'm not gonna try to crawl in.
Is your okay? Yeah, you're got a lot of water in there.
Yeah.
Just give me a sec. All right.
Can you?
Yeah.
Can you row?
Yeah. You wanna
keep your boat stable.
I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I think here. Why don't we try to have you hang onto the back of my boat? Because I can't row like this. So ready?
We're making our way though.
Yeah. Ready?
Moving, so.
Ready? All right. Just go slow. Grab the back of my boat. This was becoming a riskier situation by the minute, especially with the low water temperature, how long it would take us to get back while battling the waves, and if Ron would even be able to get back into the kayak. We headed to shore, where the best option at least would be hiking back. Luckily, the guys on the boat happened to be rounding a corner and noticed our predicament and could come to the rescue.
Oh yeah, he rolled it. You got in the water. We can take it back.
He looks drenched.
He went in. He must have rolled it. Well, I'm glad we came around the corner.
Yeah? Let's see what
the capsize says.
Hey, what's up, wet boy? Alright.
We jigged down here for halibut, but it's just too early to see halibut, so we're gonna go kill rockfish. That's our dinner. So as soon as we drop you guys off.
I know that water went from glass to not glass. We should have just stayed in the bay.
You guys would just paddle around here in the
That's
bay.
what we should have done, but we tried to be the heroes, and we turned it as zeros. Once we got to the cabin for Ron to warm up, the other guys went back out to catch us some dinner.
Some mountain goats.
Here we go.
There they are.
See, these are still alive. All right, let's do this. See the spikes? I'm getting them right in my...
Yep.
Glove can't protect you from that. This would be the freshest fish you probably ever had.
Probably.
So you just get hardly any fillet on these fish. That's just the way it is. Even a big giant rockfish, there's not much fillet on them. I'm cutting these down to deep fry size. I'm just following that shoulder right down, right? I'm on top of the spine right there. And it takes a lot of rockfish to make a meal.
Got our fresh rockfish here. Grab it piece by piece, flour it up. It's really hard to do with one hand while filming. All right, got it on the egg, and we panko it up. Nice. And boom.
Warms up a little bit, Ron. I've been in that water one time.
We enjoyed the fresh fish for dinner and the simple nature of being in a location like this one. After all, it is fishing and leisure that was the primary motivation to build this cabin in the first place. The strange activity was secondary and not anticipated by Scott or anybody else that visited. The following event, as recounted by Scott, was one of the more dramatic incidents to take place.
The weirdest was when I had two friends come out with me. They do a separate line of work, but one of the guys used to be a biologist. He still is, obviously. Once you're a biologist, you're a biologist. But we went to bed about 11 o'clock, maybe 11:30, not much later than that. And we didn't have stairs on the front of the cabin at the time, so I just constructed a ramp and left a sheet of plywood off that back corner. And so that was our only access in and out, going up and down that ramp. So to keep bears from coming in, just wandering in, I put a piece of plywood against that opening from the inside, and I put a Yeti cooler against it that weighed 70 pounds. It was a Yeti cooler empty is probably close to 30, but at 1:30 in the morning, I've got no electricity, it's dark as can be. Something comes up to the building and shoves that plywood in so hard, the cooler goes to the other wall 12 feet away and hits it hard. They start screaming, "Get out of here, bear." I came running from, even though I can't see, I know my cabin, so I grab my shotgun, it's hanging right next to me, grab that, spin around into the bunk room, and I just start screaming at them, because they're hollering. They're just like, "Get out of here, bear." And I said, "Clear the door, I'm going to shoot." And I said it about 3 times. I was screaming at them, because I'm going to blast whatever's in the doorway, and thinking, that it was a bear. I heard the big bang and all that stuff, but I hadn't processed what we were dealing with at that point. But as soon as they shut up, you could hear whatever it was is going up that hill. In the cabin, you could feel the movement of the cabin. The cabin moves, but you could feel the ground sort of, you could just feel it. I've been close to moose when they run by. I know what you could feel the ground move a little bit. Same thing with horses. But that's what happened, and those guys didn't want to sleep in that room anymore until I closed. I literally had to seal off that back building, or part of the building, and put temporary stairs up just to get them to stay out and help me out working out here. So
cool. Alrighty, well, I guess we'll see you in the morning then.
All right. If you don't need to stay up there, come back down. You know where the beds are. So
absolutely. Don't
feel like you're going to wake us. You won't.
All right. Well, we're going up. We're going to camp out somewhere on that ridge tonight. Let's do it. Given that seemed to be the area from where unusual noises were heard from the night before last, we figured it might be worth spending the night up there for a couple of reasons. As has been mentioned before, a previous scouting party interested in the property prior to Scott had camped up there and were apparently freaked out by something stomping through their camp each night. Secondly, the night we did experience the knocking sounds and rock throws, it was after we had done our very thorough hike of the area. We couldn't help but feel that might have had something to do with the unusual activity, even if that is just plain speculation. Perhaps spending the night up there, where it has rarely been done, would prove interesting.
Let's see. Can you see that? Those lights are the upper. That's the upper fire pit where we were the past couple of nights.
All right, we've found a spot in this clearing to put our tent. 2 persons should work right here in this little bedding area, and Ron's gonna go right here. Ron, you thought you heard a knock?
Yeah, like way. It's hard to tell because we were making so much noise, but it was on this side.
Eli.
Either off across here, maybe across the other cove, or,
Yeah.
or up the ridge.
And Eli, you thought you heard one too.
I thought I heard one a little bit before that when we were setting up the tent. It sounded like it came from back where we came in from.
Well, all right, we'll keep our ears peeled. We sat outside the tents for a bit after setting up, scanning with thermal units and simply just listening.
Oh, they're in front of me. Like behind you, Eli.
Wow.
You hear that?
Like a whoop. Really?
You didn't hear that?
No.
I'm standing up. That was funny. Alright, good luck, Ron. We'll be here.
After we had settled into our tents for the night, a slight drizzling rain began that would go on and off for a bit. Eli and I stayed up for about an hour, listening and hearing again what could only be described as knocking sounds and or rocks hitting rocks before splashing into the water. Attempts to scan with the thermal proved futile in the moment, and with nothing seen, we eventually dozed off. Even while we slept, the audio recorder picked up rock clacking and splashing sounds, as you'll hear between the snoring. While those sounds seemed to come in short waves confined to a few minutes total. Later on in the early hours of the morning, the audio recorder captured a growl, which again seems possible to be a lynx. Well, it's morning. Show the area we were in. Pretty interesting night. Lots of weird noises. What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, I heard some knocks and some splashing down there. Like
yeah,
something
so
getting tossed in the water.
That's how close we are to the water. We didn't know. The water's just down this hill, big hill. Going right down that way. So we really have that high ground here. We're going to kind of search the area here, see if there's not anything we can find. But Eli, what do you think of last night?
Dude, there was knocks everywhere, and we heard this like knock and a thump that was like right off to our left.
Yeah.
And it sounded like these things were close, whatever it was. And there was footsteps, there was stuff moving around.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just kind of beating myself up for not sticking that thermal. I did stick the thermal out the tent a few times. It just takes so long to do it.
Does it?
And I have such a limited view unless I pop out, but
Yeah.
well, I mean, hopefully the other recorder's got stuff while we were sleeping too, but alright, so we're walking around a little bit over here. See if we can't find any sign of anything around camp. So we're following this game trail here, and it kind of goes under a tree. So obviously it's a little tight for us as humans to get through. So I was just going to the side to sidestep it when I noticed this. My foot, naturally I would put it right there. It seems to be a worn flat area that bypasses this tree to continue up on the game trail. Could that be humans? Possibly. Not a lot of people have come through here, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities. So boom. And then you continue on the game trail. Path of least resistance. Unbeknownst to me at the time, my microphone was disconnected from the camera, resulting in a loss of audio, right as we were examining this impression in the mud, which ultimately we deemed as natural and kept moving. Whoa, look out there. Got some perfect feline prints here, especially this one. You can tell from that pad. Probably lynx. No toe or no claws visible. One right in front of it too. It's pretty small, as you can see. Don't have my tape measure, left it up at the tent. But it's looks like lynx, alright. It's the biggest cat they have here. No mountain lions around here. Pretty neat. Alright, so we're gonna leave camp set up. We're gonna come back here tonight. We're gonna leave some audio rolling, so go ahead. After getting back to the cabin, we had ourselves a very lax day for the most part, with everybody eventually settling into a nap at one point. Low clouds rolled in and it created an ominous atmosphere unlike what we had seen any of the days prior. This is when things got a little strange. So as I was just standing out here, it's a little bit foggy and rainy, and I was just getting some B-roll of the mountains, and I happened to be focusing on something in the bay when I heard what I thought was a gunshot, very loud. One of the guys in the cabin apparently heard it when I was coming back in go twice, heard that same noise. There shouldn't be anybody shooting out here. That's the kind of sound that this guy said he heard the other day as well when we were getting onto the raft, when we were coming back from that side. As soon as we got on the beach. Very strange, I don't know. I mean, there shouldn't be anyone shooting up here. There's nobody else out here, so it's just kind of strange. My first thought when I heard that was gunshot. And that's what the other guy thought as well. So, just more weirdness out here. While going out to switch the battery on an audio recorder behind the cabin itself, by pure chance I happened to look at the backside of the cabin closest to the bunk room and noticed something rather intriguing that we all proceeded to examine.
Decent.
You can really see it. If you come down here, come here.
Oh yeah.
You see that?
Here you go.
Look
yeah,
at
wow. Oh, that's the money shot.
Zoom in on that.
But yeah, you can see the...
So zoom out. Ready to keep it like that. How's that?
Yeah, you can see it's about 8.
This would have to be like the configuration or something like that. But again, what's so weird is the back of this person's palm here is touching here, as we can see right here, right? So that's the back of it. If I'm touching the back, look where my hand falls flat.
Yeah, your bottom tooth.
And look at their digits. Their ring and middle finger almost go to here. That's nuts. Who's got a bigger hand? We pretty much are all pretty much the same here. And it's the only one. It's right under that window.
I know.
But it's like a really sticky, sweaty palm.
Yeah.
What way does it go on there? Because look at these are going this way. On this, they're going straight down in line. My hands are straight across. They don't swirl like that though. It's like a swirl pattern. And the fingers are so hard to tell, it's just greasy. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's about that tip to that bottom, 6 inches across. I mean, that is within human range, but
Yeah.
that's if I'm fully extending my fingers
And that's
out.
what I'm saying. It's like they're straight. They're not, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
they're
It's
not
not like
crazy
you doing,
curved.
it's not like you doing this real steep angle.
Because these two fingers are real close together. And this one, this pinky, if that's a pinky, that's the same length as the pointer finger, which I guess makes sense. But I don't know. It's a decently big hand. That's all I can really. I would just expect to see more. I would expect to see more of those types of prints if there were, people doing stuff here. I don't know. None of the guys could recall pressing against this spot with their hand, and we have no idea how long this could have been there for. What was interesting about this handprint was that it was definitely made by a hand. While that certainly doesn't rule out human, it does rule out bear or moose or anything that isn't human-like. Without the proper equipment to collect a sample, we would arrange for somebody with a law enforcement background to lift the print in the coming weeks. And there's no other handprint. I would expect if you guys had been doing, let's say, some work, I'd see more than one oily handprint like that on here, but that's literally the only one I found so far.
That's what they say.
That's way bigger than any of us. So that's half the size.
Yeah, I checked this whole side here and didn't see anything even remotely similar. So one of a kind on this structure.
Wow.
So I'm walking around here, kind of beneath where our campsite is. Campsite is up over there, I believe. So this is the area, and I'm seeing lots of impressions down here. And this is the area where we heard noises, we heard rocks being thrown right there into the water. See how close that is? It's definitely footfall here. Still scanning the sides of trees. See if we can find hair. You see something like this. The camera won't even focus on it. See that floating around, flying around? Looks like hair, but it's not. This trail looks perfect, looks very worn. I'm looking along these branches and it's just so much old man's beard and moss that it's hard to tell what's hair and what isn't. This trail goes all the way down to the water here. Look at this. This could take me to the beach. And our campsite's up there.
record. Leave the note. Alright, I'm sending this just uphill from camp. I'm gonna be hanging it in a tree. This is the second night of the camp out. Right here. Hopefully we get something. Should we go all night? I don't know what to do about it.
You know we got that lynx out there.
So we are hearing stuff all around us. Sounds like rocks clacking together. Sounds like something moving in the water. Last night? Maybe. But not all of it. But we were seeing the sea lions all day today.
Yeah.
But like, what was weird was that stuff from last night. The clunking and the, like something getting closer.
Yep.
Here in the woods. You can clearly hear that to the left out in the bay.
Yeah, that might be sea lions. Good go. What are we working with here?
Deploying the pheromone chips yet again.
Let me get a whiff of that. You just gotta accept it, dude.
We decided to deploy some Sasquatch pheromone chips. Developed using gorilla and human bacterial odors and known for their foul smell, we've deployed these chips before in places like the Pacific Northwest, the Rocky Mountains, and elsewhere, with the idea of luring something in closer that might be interested. I've had a few occasions elsewhere when the usage of these pheromone chips produced wood knocks and possibly objects being thrown towards our camp, so we figured we would give them a try for the night.
This tree here, perfect. What about that here? Oh yeah.
Pray don't drop it on my head. Alright. That's fine.
There we go. I'm deployed.
We just heard some weird thing.
Wait, say that again.
We just heard some kind of a vocalization.
In a return over there. In here and there. I don't know if those sea lions or not.
That's the problem. There's a lot of them around.
Yeah, but they've been staying together most of the day.
You heard a return.
And it sounded to me like there was the call and a return. It was unusual.
Very unusual.
Alright, what's the plan here? Do we settle in now?
Yeah, I mean it wouldn't hurt to go in now.
Well, you're laying in the tent. I'm gonna be wearing the bionic ears. I got my thermal ready in case we hear anything. I'm gonna try to jump out the tent as quickly as I can.
Most of what we heard that evening were sea lions. We had noticed during the day how many of them had moved into the bay. What was interesting about these noises is that they went on all night. You can see it on this spectrogram, Every bump is some sort of sea lion noise, whether it be splashing, coming out of the water for a breath, or vocalizations. In previous nights, including last night, the knock noises and rock splash sounds seemed to only occur a few at a time, in a short span of time as well. We recorded nothing of that nature this particular evening.
What are we
Making
doing?
a second attempt. Heading up, we're gonna get past the snow line this time. We're a little more prepared today. See how it goes.
A little bit lighter weight, starting a little bit earlier. We're not doing the second half that we did, or the first half that we did.
Wait, you heard a knock?
Yeah.
Shh.
Right up the ridge, just
How loud was it? What did it sound like? Like any of the stuff we heard the other night?
No.
Like that?
Like that.
Find a nice little creek melt.
It's a slow process, but you can stay hydrated.
Like eating berries and berry season, you know?
Conquered nature.
Seeing some impressions.
Bear tracks.
Okay. That wasn't us.
Yeah, I didn't come this far.
Dude, yeah, you can see the digits on that. Look at this one. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You can see it on this one too.
Yeah, that looks like bear.
We made it all the way up this steep hill. Oh yeah.
Inches. 5 across. I'm gonna give it a little snow melt. Might as well just see if we can get up this thing, I guess.
I just see the woods. We were up there. Can you believe that, Ronald?
What?
We were up there.
Yeah.
Since it was our last night, we had to retrieve the footage from the various time-lapse cameras stationed in the area. Put your knee down a little bit, Eli.
Can't move. I can't break my leg like that.
Yeah.
I don't wanna. Ah! Oh!
No!
Dude, it's sick.
Who screamed? You scared the out of me, dude. I just saw a head there. It's a freaking sea lion.
You were filming that, right?
I was. I just happened to point my camera that direction.
I like how I freaked him out. What are you doing? Hey, get out of here.
Oh, that was hilarious, dude. That was a good moment. Ron's reaction scared me more than anything because I wasn't sure what was going on. With those 3 time-lapse cameras running constantly, we were unable to catch any significant wildlife. This was somewhat surprising given the amount of large animals in the area and their sign that we would frequently come across. For the final evening out, we once again headed back to the upper fire pit to try our luck one last time. So we're hearing the same noises we've been hearing. Sounds like a rock flying into the water, or hitting a rock before it hits the water. Very distinct. Plunk. So not like sea lions.
Oh, that last splash.
Huh?
There's splashes coming from like right here. But that's not what we heard.
What we heard was again from the point.
Yep.
Plunk.
Ron's audio should have captured it.
That night, the night we heard of the robbery, it was mixed with those knocks, and it was that noise.
That was me kicking this stuff.
Was that you? Are you sure?
I don't know. It sounded further
Dude,
away.
that sounded like a rock in the water.
Yeah, I think he hit a tree.
That's literally what it sounds like. That's what that sound sounds like.
Yeah.
The sea lions are messing around out there.
Yeah, but I think they're over here. Like, over this way. What we're hearing is further down the point.
Well, it's our last night out here. Got a few more of these rock splashing, falling noises. I mean, we know there's some sea lions out there, but they don't make a sound that sounds like a rock hitting other rocks and trees along the way into the water. I've been scanning with the thermal. I don't know, it's kind of frustrating. So not a whole lot else we can really do at this point. I mean, we could deploy the thermal drone over there, but we're not going to see much. It doesn't penetrate through the trees. It's not the end-all be-all, I don't think. So I thought it was going to be a much more useful tool. But yeah, I don't know. We've had happen what we've had happen, and basically it. We'll have to come back here soon.
Yep. I just want to find where they live.
Bittersweet as we leave the cabin. Obviously it's been a pretty interesting trip out here. Just bummer to be leaving, but we got to explore so much of this beautiful place. Even though we were leaving this wilderness paradise behind, only to return to civilization, we were gifted one last glimpse into the wild nature that defines Alaska. Our journey may have ended, but that's not where the story ends. While we did not capture definitive proof of anything Sasquatch-like, there are still some interesting things to sift through. As mentioned earlier, we arranged to have somebody with a law enforcement background come back at a later date to the cabin in order to collect samples from the mystery handprint.
It was found, I believe, last week, a couple weeks ago. I don't have the date it was found, but it is Tuesday, May 24th at about 6 p.m. and I'm going to attempt to swab it for DNA, and then I'm going to try and lift it with fingerprint powder. All right, so I've got some supplies here. These were loaned to me from the police department I retired from. So these are actual law enforcement grade supplies. So if a crime was committed, this is the stuff that they would use to collect DNA, to collect evidence, to send to the crime lab. Gonna get a little swab on these fingers here. So it's exciting stuff. I like these with the little caps on. Now I don't know for sure if that was the pointer finger. I don't know what finger it is, so I'm just going to call it finger 1. So that's going to be the finger that is closest to the roof of the cap. Whatever it was, it definitely left a whitish stain here on the siding. Probably what I'll do is I'll take one of these still photographs that we have that shows it pretty well, and I will diagram on the photograph finger 1, finger 2, finger 3. So I'm going to take 2 swabs of this palm area, suspected palm area. The first one I'm going to do is right there, because there's a really noticeable dermal ridge right there. I'm going to try and get that right here, right in this meaty portion. So now that we've swabbed our suspected handprint for DNA, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and lift the print. I have some fingerprinting supplies here with me. I have some fingerprint powder, some hinge lifters. I'm a little skeptical that this is going to work. It's an old print. It's been here for at least 2 weeks, I think. It's been raining today. I don't know how well this is going to pan out. If this was a law enforcement case and it was a serious case, I would probably just remove the siding and send it out to be glued. What they do is they vaporize the super glue and it sticks to the print. We don't have the means to do that here. We're doing it the old-fashioned way with fingerprint powder, a brush, and hinge lifters. It's there, it's just not very visible. And we're at a disadvantage because it's on an uneven surface. Two and three. These are the fingers, supposed to be the fingers, and that's supposed to be the... All right. I think we've done as much damage as we can do with this.
The samples were sent to Doug Hychek of Monster Quest fame for future analysis. I emailed a few folks about the handprint, including Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who believed it was likely a human print. I also emailed 2 professors of primate dermatoglyphics who wished to remain anonymous. One agreed with Dr. Meldrum's analysis that a human was likely the culprit, while the other initially believed it was some sort of bear, but upon closer inspection agreed it was human or ape in pattern. Albeit inconclusive overall, I believe this was a great exercise in following up with alleged evidence with outside parties for their professional opinions. While most of the audio we captured while on the property sounded like wood knocking or those rock splash sounds we kept hearing, the mystery gunshots that kept occurring were intriguing. They seemed to only occur when we were doing something, such as when it was heard as we boarded the raft on day 2.
Yeah, when y'all were getting in the Zodiac. Heard a growl? Yeah, there was a knock up there when y'all were getting in.
But he heard a growl as well.
I thought y'all shot the gun and I looked over to see how.
Or when I exited the cabin alone and happened to be filming when I captured one of the sounds. When it comes to breaking down the sound via spectrographic analysis, we can see the mystery gunshot does not match the typical way a gunshot looks visually. The sounds previously captured in the years prior that originally captured my attention were worth following up. David Ellis of the Olympic Project, who has spent countless hours examining alleged Sasquatch audio recordings, was the one who initially discovered many of the sounds among hours of recorded audio and had this to say about them. Quote, I review audio visually in a spectrogram while listening. I visually spotted a long howl that was very suspicious. Using software that allows me to see the vocalization in the form of a spectrogram, I can accurately enhance the vocal to an audible form. This audio capture, titled Long Distance Vocal, is a personal favorite. In the long run, it is the collective sounds of whistles, whoops, gorilla chest beats, percussive sounds, gibberish voices, and house slaps that tie it all up with a nice bow. Something is happening on and around Scott's property. I'm glad to see other folks are getting a chance to witness what is going on. End quote. I spent a few days emailing some of the sounds to various primatologists and primate vocalization experts around North America. Out of the roughly dozen or so emails I sent out, I only received one response. This primate expert was very curious about the recordings and recommended setting up further camera traps. They also suggested the rock throwing could have been done by ravens. In the months after our visit to the cabin, during the summer season, Scott and his companions returned on quite a few occasions. They experienced much of the same type of activity we did, hearing potential whoop-like noises, mystery gunshots from the hills, hollow baseball bat sounds, and even finding a few unusual-looking footprints. Looking back on our week now as I write this, nearly 7 months after our journey to this little slice of heaven on earth, there are things I would have liked we had done differently. Different techniques, using more of the equipment on hand. Things such as setting up autonomous thermal cameras in the forest at night, trying more cover and concealment, and tactics such as bringing women along to see if the so-called baby crying sounds can be observed again, and other ideas we had after the fact. Perhaps we were somewhat in over our heads with this task and barely scratched the surface, but for what we did accomplish, I am satisfied with. We explored so much of that area in a way it likely hasn't been explored in years. We spent the longest continuous period at the cabin ever. We witnessed many of the amazing creatures that call this place their home. We documented an incredibly rich ecosystem, barely spoiled by the destructive hands of humanity. If whatever is lurking out there indeed is something Sasquatch-like, which is not certain by any means, but either way, we feel it warrants further investigation. There is a lot more work to be done at this site, longer times to be spent there, more ambitious attempts to document what is truly going on there. This is not the last you will see of codenamed Area A. Dear old Alaskan cabin, we will return.